ẹ ṣé o tẹ́ ń darapọ̀ mọ́ wa ní gbogbo ìgbà lórí ìkànnì ICTV. Happy new month to everybody, to all our viewers, to all the supporters on this channel. Happy new month, happy new month, happy new month. I pray that this month, blessing of God, plenty blessing will locate every one of you in this month. Láṣẹ Ìdùmarè ní gbogbo wa o, láṣẹ Ìdùmarè lórúkọ Jésù, lórúkọ ànábì, kí ni mo tún fẹ́ pè náà, àtàwọn tó bá jẹ́ traditional náà, gbogbo nǹkan tẹ́ bá ṣáà ti gbàgbọ́ nínú ẹ̀, mo gbàdúrà pé lóṣù yìí ire á wá gbogbo wa rí o. Mo kí gbogbo akábọ̀ sórí ìkànnì ICTV torí oṣù tuntun lélẹ́yìí, oṣù ayọ̀ náà sì ní fún gbogbo olólùfẹ́ ìkànnì ICTV torí pé lóṣù yìí àwọn nǹkan tá a tún máa gbé yẹ̀wò, àwọn nǹkan original authentic ni àwọn náà tí mo gbé fídíò kan wá tá a ṣe ní ìjẹta àbí sànà ìjẹta ni pé àwọn ò ní jẹ́ kí election wáyé. Àwọn Christian Association náà ti wá jáde ń sìn wípé ọ̀rọ̀ arìndìn ọ̀rọ̀ àgọ̀ ni ọ̀rọ̀ tí wọ́n ń sọ, bẹ́ẹ̀ ni a ó gbọ́ dáadáa. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn ìwé ìròyìn ló tún ti wá jáde tó jẹ́ ti òkè òkun ni kò tiẹ̀ ti wá tiẹ̀ tí ń ṣe ti Nàìjíríà sìn láti máa question pé kí ni Nàìjíríà rí lára orílẹ̀-èdè Turkey. Ṣèkígbà táwa sọ̀rọ̀ yẹn ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ń wò bí ẹni wípé tiẹ̀ láìkì nǹkan gidi, kí ẹ̀yin èèyàn sọ̀pọ̀tì nǹkan pé kinní kan. Táwọn èèyàn bá rí wọn sọ ni, tí wọn ò bá rí wọn ò ní sọ, torí nǹkan táwọn èèyàn rí náà ń sọ, torí tí ò bá rí bẹ́ẹ̀ ni wọn ò ní máa sọ wípé kò sí ohun rere kan tó lè jáde wá láti ọ̀dọ̀ àwọn ará bí kò sí pé ìwà agbésùmọ̀mí eléyìí tó ti wà ní Nàìjíríà tẹ́lẹ̀ wípé wọ́n kàn tó fẹ́ wá bu petrol sí iná tó ti ń jò tẹ́lẹ̀ ni. Bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ̀rọ̀ àwọn Turkey, bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ̀rọ̀ wọn rí lórí ọ̀rọ̀ Nàìjíríà, gbogbo ẹ̀ pátápátá lẹ́gbọ̀ọ́. Ẹ jẹ́ wọn máa tẹ̀ sójú ẹ̀ dáadáa torí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn èèyàn tó máa ń pè mí pa ìsìn máa ṣe kánmọ́ ó ní wípé àwọn kan ti wá jáde tán wọ́n ní ọ̀rọ̀ arìndìn ọ̀rọ̀ àgọ̀ lọ̀rọ̀ tí àwọn Sharia Council tó ń sọ pé torí àkọ́kọ́ náà Nàìjíríà kì í ṣe Islamic country, àwọn ló sọ bẹ́ẹ̀, ṣùgbọ́n àwọn yẹn ń claim pé Nigeria is an Islamic country. In fact ṣàmọ̀pọ̀rọ̀ yẹn ni Ẹ̀dọ́gà àgbà tó sọ̀rọ̀ yẹn lórí ẹ̀rọ ayélujára X, ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn èèyàn náà gbógun tì wípé why will you call Nigeria an Islamic country? Tàbádẹ́wò náà rí wípé gbogbo àwọn nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ní Nàìjíríà náà ọwọ́lọ́wọ́ ìsọ̀ ohun lóhun Jákọ́bù ni wípé Nigeria is systematically an Islamic country. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni, systematically an Islamic country, and that is what is giving this Islamic group n tó fún wọn ní ṣé kí la lè pè náà, tó ń fún wọn ní ìgboyà, tó ń fún wọn ní ẹfọ́ntì láti lè jẹ́ pé káwọn náà mọ oríṣiríṣi àwọn kan mọ sọ àwọn ìwà àlùfànṣá pé kinní kan táwọn ò bá ti ṣe Islam báyìí ò gbọ́dọ̀ tó ṣẹ̀sìn míì mọ́. Ó dẹ̀ wà ní òfin wípé freedom of speech, freedom of right to religion, freedom of movement, gbogbo àwọn nǹkan yẹn ó dà pé wọ́n kà kọ́ sínú òfin ni, kò fẹ́ nítumọ̀ ní Nàìjíríà yìí. Gbogbo ẹ̀ pátá onímọ̀níkẹ́ wa gbọ́ kí sáré máa tẹ̀ sójú ẹ̀ torí àwọn yẹn náà ti wá jáde tán wọ́n sọ wípé kò sí ní tó jọ ọ́ pé wọn ò lè máa fọwọ́ lalẹ̀ fáwọn. Ẹ̀jẹ̀ sáré kà á. The Christian Association of Nigeria (CAN) in the 19 northern states and the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja nìyẹn has frowned at the call for the removal of a chairman of a Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), Professor Joas Amupitan, by the Supreme Council for Sharia in Nigeria. It could be recalled that the Sharia Council earlier this week, demanded that the immediate removal and prosecution of Amupitan, accusing him of compromised integrity, a legal brief in which he reportedly acknowledged claim of persecution of Christian genocide in Nigeria. So parọ́ ni kò parọ́, ṣùgbọ́n the truth is that they want them to bury the truth. That truth they no wan hear am. The truth is that they are buying people every day, but you don't want them to talk about it. In fact, they hire some people, they call them lobbyists. They say, go America, go and be telling them, that this thing is not happening. This thing is not happening in Nigeria. When Remor came to Nigeria, towards Nigeria, also only we have seen it all. They went to Benue, they have seen everything. They see the way they find people. They see the way some people are displaced. Some people, over 600,000 people are in IDP camp. As we are talking right now. When I talk, I say that pray that Nigeria will not happen to you. I just pray to all our viewers this month. I saw a message yesterday that somebody sent to me. They said they kidnapped somebody from their house. Somebody that is breastfeeding a baby. They kidnapped the woman. They were begging them. They said they should go and bring how many millions? They were begging them for you to know the kind of state Nigeria we are now. For you to know. So when we are talking, nobody hates this country. Everybody is asking for the right thing, that, okay, let there be peace, let there be security of life and property. That is number one priority. Security of life and property. But there is nothing like that. There is nothing like that. The Northern Can responded to a press statement jointly signed by chairman of Northern Can, Reverend Joseph John Ayap, and the Secretary General of Northern Can, Bishop Mohammed Naga, and made available to journalists in Maiduguri on Thursday, questioning the motive behind the demand, asking who was sponsoring, the call. They are not looking at the reason why Nigeria needs to be peaceful, the Islamic Council, but they are looking at, they shall want every aspect. I said it in the video I made last week. I said that gradually, systemically, that is how the Turkey from Christian nation, gradually, they turn to Islamic states. They turn to Islamic state, and gradually Nigeria is also going in that direction now. I know a lot of people we like to use faith. I'm on faith. God forbid, it can never happen in Nigeria. Right in front of our eyes. A lot of people say, no, suicide bomber. In Nigeria. It can never happen in Nigeria. But right in front of our face like this, suicide bomber is in Nigeria. Kò lè ṣẹlẹ̀ káwọn kankan ṣàdédé kó bọn wọlé kádẹ mọ pa àwọn èèyàn lọ láéláé nígbà tá a sí Afghanistan, tá a sí ní Iran, tá a sí ní Iraq, kò lè ṣẹlẹ̀. Right in front of our eyes is happening right now. Wọ́n á dẹ̀ kó bọn wọbi kan, wọ́n á dẹ̀ ṣe tàtàtàtàtàtà fáwọn èèyàn, ó tán náà nìyẹn. Kò sí apprehension, nothing, kò sí pé àwọn kan náà gbámú, àwọn kan náà fojú wọn jófin, kò sí yẹn bẹ́ẹ̀. Ó là ṣe ń sọ, ó là ṣe ń tẹnu mọ́. But a lot of people will not look at it in that way. Service interest. Service interest is number one. Number two, tribalism. Bigotry. Religious fanatism. Ẹ̀sìn yẹn bá ṣe gbélé wa lọ́wọ́ nìyẹn, bá ṣe gbọ́dọ̀ ṣe ní bó ṣe ń kó bá wa in so many angles, so many ways. Gbogbo àwọn nǹkan tí mo kà kalẹ̀ yìí. Greediness tó ń pa wá kú, àwọn nǹkan tó ń pa wá kú nìyẹn. Ẹni tí ò bá ti ṣe Islam kò lè rule the country wa báyìí. He cannot rule Nigeria. You know how they were forcing Jonathan during when Jonathan was there. Tó o bá ti ṣe Islam, o lè rule wa. They were forcing them to do everything. Forcing them. So many things ni wọ́n ń gbé jáde ń sìn tó yẹ pé ó against the citizen. So many things. The issue of tax. A lot of people, let me quickly say this before I play the video, because we saw the video yẹn mi fẹ́ kó gùn púpọ̀. I don't want this video to be long. Tax. By March ending now, every citizen is a must, in fact, including me. Like I was I was discussing with the tax kí ló ń pè wọ́n náà, àwọn tax advisor. I say me too I will pay. What business am I doing? He say you will pay by end of March everybody must file tax return. They don't want to hear whether you are having business or you have job, you don't have job, you must pay. That is the kind of country we find ourselves. There is nothing bad in paying tax if government are doing the right thing. Yes, I used to tell people there is nothing bad in paying tax. In fact, if you have done the necessary things and you ask people to come and pay, I know Nigerians, people will gladly pay. Nigerians that when they see somebody online begging and do all sorts of things, once the person trend, everybody will move in that direction to show that we are not heartless. To show that Nigeria, they have a very kind heart. They can easily adapt to anything. Everybody will pay by March ending. Tax is coming. In fact, with that, Northerners now, many of them have been reacting. They have been crying out that they won't pay that tax. I think that will be another problem starting from March ending now, because many of them have been crying out that the issue of tax, they've already said it that by March ending, everybody must file tax return, individual tax return now. It doesn't, because unlike before, if you have a company, you have to pay. But now, individual tax return, everybody must file tax return. If you don't know how to do it, you employ people that know how to do it. They will help you to do that. These are the things that Northerners too are fighting for now. They have been crying out again. But another thing is that if this tax is accumulated, gathered together, by the time they want to share, they will get the lion's share. They will get the biggest share. You can see the hypocrisy. That is why I always say it, that we are not the same. We are not what? We are not the same. And it's time for us, everybody to be on their own. If you are on our own, if Nigeria cannot break into like everybody going Biafra, Odudua, and Northerners and everything, let's go back to the Western region. Regional. When we go to region, everybody control your resources. Then everybody will know their weight. But they don't want that again, because they say that is an exit for the breakaway of Nigeria. They don't want Nigeria to break. They still don't want peace. They don't want Nigeria to break. They still don't want peace. You shall want people to continue to be there, suppressing them. Let me play this. Nigeria is not an Islamic country. But technically, for many of us that are technically, we already know Nigeria is an Islamic country. But it's an hard fact that many people always want to, they always want to shy away with it. They run away with it and say Nigeria is after all, we have big churches, we have Oyedepo, we have Adeboyes, we have everything. Let's listen to what they say. Because I've said it, I don't want the video to be long. Because everybody, by the time Nigeria, I want you to listen to this video.
Turkey is clearly a terrorist state with a broad reach. It reports that Turkey is supplying weapons to the terrorist group Boko Haram in Nigeria. 10 TV host Nishat Al-Delhi reported on a leak confirming an intercepted phone call from a few years back confirming the action. He reported in part, today's leak confirms without a doubt that Erdogan, his state, his government, and his party are transferring weapons from Turkey to, this is a shock, to where you may ask, to Nigeria, and to whom? To the Boko Haram organization. Well, Raymond Ibrahim, a journalism fellow at the David Horowitz Freedom Center and an expert on the Middle East and Islam, joins us now with more on this. Welcome, Raymond.
Hello, Heather.
Are you surprised by this report? What's your take on it?
No, I'm not surprised. And my take on it is that the actual tape that was made that you referenced and you quoted was made apparently in 2014 or 15. And it was reported widely in certain areas in the U.S. and in the West, not so much, and not much came out of it. And the reason, I think, is because Erdogan didn't have his fingers so much in Islamist politics outside of his own nation. But now that we've seen, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, the ISIS Islamic State Caliph that was killed recently, and he was found just 3 miles from the Turkish border, which is in fact one of the last, or if not the last bastion of jihadi so-called freedom fighters of attacking the Syrian government. It's brought it up again, the fact that everyone is saying, well, look, he's supporting ISIS. So now we're remembering, and that was, I think, the point of the Egyptian show. We're bringing back to see that there's some continuity here. It's not just right next door to Syria, to Turkey, meaning Syria. He's involved with some of the absolute worst Islamic terror groups. Remember, Boko Haram, which its name loosely means Western education is forbidden, haram, was basically doing what ISIS is notorious for years before ISIS. So the whole head chopping, crucifying, massacres, enslaving women and children, burning people alive, Boko Haram was doing that. And one of the things that international observers have been noticing, especially increasingly, is that their armaments, their weapons, are very sophisticated. And it's even spilled into the Fulani tribesmen in Nigeria and in other parts in Africa. For example, I'm sure you know, Burkina Faso, also in Western Africa, attacks on Christians have become horrific. Just in the last few months, there have been so many killed, and always in the context of checking out if they're wearing crosses, if they can say the Islamic creed or not, and then being butchered and so forth. And those tribesmen, the Fulani, who are essentially living almost on a primitive scale, appear with very advanced weaponry.
Well, that's really interesting, which would kind of seem to perhaps give more weight to this idea that perhaps Turkey is collaborating with Boko Haram. What would the benefit be to Turkey of collaborating with Boko Haram?
Well, there's several theories. One is Erdogan basically is an ardent Islamist, and he is supporting and behind any Islamist movement in any country. He's the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt. He was allied with Qatar of Al Jazeera as his ally. And so you can see him, he's trying to help develop these Islamist groups so they can overthrow more secular states. Though, in fact, in Nigeria, an aside that I think is important, the president himself, Muhammad Buhari, of Nigeria, who's Muslim, Nigeria is half Christian, half Muslim, has been accused himself of being behind the so-called genocide, which a lot of international groups have called what's happening to Christians in Nigeria, that he himself is complicit in this armament. So he could very well be an ally of Erdogan and so forth, and it's just some sort of Islamist overall coalition globally.
I want to ask you, the President Trump, of course, met with the President of Turkey yesterday. Do you think he's aware of these kind of ties to terrorism? And what are your thoughts on that meeting yesterday?
Well, in general, I think, what he's aware of is really hard to tell. But I think the meeting in general, Trump and presidents won't necessarily bring.
Now, let me quickly explain that. Thanks you. We as indigenous, okay? Now, everybody is running away from the truth. When they introduce anything, you can see. If they introduce anything, if it's not religiously backing, they will not want to accept it, especially the northern people. They see everything from the religion angle. Look at the issue of tax I mentioned about. They are saying they are not going to do this. Islamic banking, clinical banking, we don't do this, we don't do that. But if they realize anything there, they will share it. Àwọn ni wọ́n gba lion share, àwọn ni wọ́n gba ilé tó pọ̀ jù ńbẹ̀. Ìdí tá a ṣe ń pariwo nìyẹn. A lot of people don't see like that. Ìdí tá a ṣe ń pariwo nìyẹn. Nigeria, we are not one, and that is why all of us need to go on a separate way. We are not one at all. Ẹ bá like video, ẹ má jà jógún jù báyìí lọ. Ẹ bá like, ẹ bá share rẹ̀. Náà ti sọ àwọn káàntì fún wọn lésì pé kò sí ní tó jọ. Nigeria is not an Islamic state, but Nigeria is a secular state. But technically, we already know. But àwọn yẹn náà ti wá jáde tán sí pé kò sí ní tó jọ. Àfi kí kálukú ṣe kíni, kí kálukú kó behave ara ẹ̀ ni. In fact, àwọn yẹn tó kóòtù ẹ̀ pé àwọn Sharial Council pé it's already Nigerian constitution. Ẹ gbọ́ ṣé lóòótọ́ ni. Then tó bá jẹ́ pé lóòótọ́ ni, kí ni àwọn Christian association ní South West àbí South East àbí South South kí ni wọ́n ń wò tó jẹ́ pé àwọn North yìí nìkan náà ni wọ́n máa ń fèsì àwọn nǹkan yìí, kí làwọn èèyàn ń wò? Àbí a sọ wípé Nigeria gan has been divided, technically Nigeria has been divided, akànjọ orúkọ papọ̀ ni. Ẹ bá fi èrò tí yín sí comment section, ẹ já pàdé ní comment section. Mo kí gbogbo wa o, happy new month to all our viewers everywhere wherever you are watching right now. Oṣù yìí aṣọwàṣọ aṣọwàṣọmọ aṣọwàṣọ àlàáfíà, wọn ò ní jí yín gbé o lóṣù yẹn sàmí o. Ẹ bá fi sí comment section, wọn ò ní jí yín gbé, wọn ò ní jí mi gbé, wọn ò ní jí gbogbo ẹnìkọ̀ọ̀kan wa gbé. Oṣù yìí á dára o, àlàáfíà ni o. You will not be kidnapped o. You will not be kí la tún lè pè náà, they will not kidnap you, they will not kill you, you will not die. This month is a month of good and sound health. Happy new month to all our viewers. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ bá ń like, ẹ bá ń share, ẹ bá ń subscribe sí orí ìkànnì yìí. This is iSane TV. TV yín náà lélẹ́yìí. Ẹ ṣé o tẹ́ ń tẹ́tí sí wa ní gbogbo ìgbà.